Lovely. So we'll just start the episode with a bit of meditation, a bit of prayer, which will bring us into the right space. And then from there, I will start the episode.
Yes, thank you. Sanjin Judan Sojin Chana La Shanju Bardu Dane Jutsu Dakin Jin Son Jibin Sonan Jin Rolai Benjuru Sanjin Rubare Ay Namka Da Nyambe Simjin Tamjin Dewa Da Devin Judan Debar Ramay Dayan Dumay Jin Judan Dawar Ramay Mebin Dewa Dayan Bindawar Chu Yerin Jadoy Nidan Travi Danya Lai Nember Jamdin Chi Domen Zamlin Jin Travi Donson Yona Chemin Jawain Dorje Jam Pajiden Gumbu Shavla Ridadu Sumji Chele Me Jinje Lashe Tuchi Ge Me Bai Sane Jam Semtrudra Sui Dobur Shinje Lo Okay.
Thank you very much for that, Rinpoche. Thank you. That was very, very special, and we're very blessed and honored. So thank you very much, and welcome to this very special edition of a podcast. We're going to have a limited short series of podcast episodes where we're going to dig a little bit deeper into understanding amazing components about Buddhism around the world, in Asia, and very specifically learning a little bit more about Bhutan and what's happening in Bhutan. We have a very, very special guest that we have with us here today, and I'm absolutely honored and blessed to be in the presence of the 11th Chauze Kuchen Rinpoche that is here with us. And welcome. Thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you for having me here.
It's an absolute pleasure, Rinpoche. Thank you. Over the course of the next 4 podcast episodes for this series, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into Buddhism, into you and your life and role as a Rinpoche, life in Bhutan and the importance of Buddhism, mindfulness in Bhutan, and how it is so important for all of us in the world to learn more about this, and for us to be able to have a center for mindfulness, for meditation, and why we need this in the world for the future. I thought we might start today, Rinpoche, if you don't mind, about maybe learning a little bit about Buddhism and the different sects within Buddhism, and what you practice and teach also within these areas and how they differ from each other.
So I think generally Buddhism is not called like the different categories, kind of with the teachings are there, but due to sentient beings, according to their capacity, intellectual capacity, their karmic intellectual capacity, so then it divided into like 3, practitioners, kind of like that.
Yes.
So then, of course, then Buddha, generally Buddha teaching, the entire teaching, actually 84,000 kind of teachings there, to be able to tame 84,000 emotions, So for all these, when we combine the 84,000 subjects combined, and it combined into 3 subjects, this is called Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma. So this 3.
Yes. Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma.
Yes. So the Sutra is like more focus on the discipline, practice,
Yes.
Then Vinaya is a discipline. Sorry, the Vinaya is the discipline, the practice of discipline, ethic, and then the Sutra is the practice of to bring the Samadhi,
Yes.
and also to practice on the love and compassion,
Yes.
the practice of generosity. And this generally we say that 6 paramitas, the practice of 6 paramitas,
Right.
but each category, the 5 of the paramitas categorized into the sutra practices,
Excellent.
and the Abhidhamma practice, the practice of wisdom,
Right.
is kind of more into the understanding, deep understanding of emptiness, nature of mind, and their faults. So it is in the, for example, like the Vajrayana Buddhism, it fall into the teaching of the Abhidharma.
Abhidharma.
Yes.
Fantastic. You mentioned we're very familiar with Buddhisms that we would call Mahayana and Theravada, for example. How does that work with all of this as well? What are the different learnings or practices that might be in these different areas?
Yeah. So now, as I mentioned earlier, that the teaching of Buddha generally, 84,000 teaching, but the practitioner comes into 3, kind of like the followers there.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they have, we call generally, firstly it comes the Theravada tradition,
Yes.
and then the secondly Mahayana tradition. So Mahayana tradition, Mahayana sect is like it's very vast, it's very big.
Yes.
Mahayana, in the Mahayana there are many, for example, like you see the like the practitioner who follow from the different countries like China,
Yes.
Vietnamese,
Yes.
Tibet, Bhutan, Nepal. All this basically they are part of Mahayana practices. And then you see Sri Lanka, Thai, Myanmar. These are into the Theravada tradition.
Yes.
So now Vajrayana is not separate from Mahayana.
Okay.
Bodhisattva
Yes.
Yana, the Mahayana means Bodhisattva Yana. So the Vajrayana, from within that, as I mentioned, that Mahayana is a very big, like a big school.
Right.
So from there, different, like a category, different branches coming. So Vajrayana is one of them.
Right.
So then, but then the Vajrayana also, when we say Vajrayana means also practice Mahayana,
Yes.
Vajrayana means also practice Theravada.
Theravada as well.
Because the practice of Vajrayana, now whole world well known is, we call it Tibetan Buddhism, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Everyone refers to it as.
Yeah, actually it's not just Tibetan Buddhism, it's also the Bhutanese practice.
Yes.
Nepali,
Yes.
the many Himalaya region people, they're all Vajrayana practitioners.
I
So not
see.
only Tibetan Buddhism.
Right,
Now there are
okay.
many Chinese,
Of course.
Vietnamese, and European and American also practice Vajrayana.
Yes. Yes.
So it is not just a Tibetan
It's not
Buddhism.
just Tibetan.
But of course, the lineage, during 8th century, the Buddhism, bring the Tibetan king, Chesong Detsen,
Right.
from the 8th century, Chesong Detsen, King Chesong Detsen of Tibet, and then the master from India,
Yes.
originally is from Pakistan, the Guru
Oh.
Padma Sambhava.
Right. Yes.
And then the Shanti Rakshita, the abbot from the Nalanda University.
Okay.
Shanti Rakshita, he's actually from Bengali.
Oh, right.
He's a Bangladesh.
All over.
Yeah. So during these 3 important, like a kind of figure that bring
Yes.
Buddhism, the complete teaching of Buddha, translated into Tibetan language.
I see.
So-
Amazing.
So there is, we call it Kanjur.
Yes.
So it's actually the entire 84,000 translated into Tibetan language.
That's so
So
important.
only exists in Tibetan language.
And-
It was because in Sanskrit,
In Sanskrit.
but
Yes.
it's no more now.
Okay. So the original text of it in Sanskrit does not exist
That
anymore.
does no more now.
But we're fortunate that before we lost that, it was able to be
Yes.
translated to
Yes.
Tibet. And where is all of it now? Is it in a library or is it in a monastery or temple?
Before, of course, from the 8th century, they translated all in the Tibetan language.
Yes.
So it the texts exist in Tibetan Samye monastery before. The Samye monastery, the first
Yes.
monastery is built by these
Yes.
3 important figures.
Yes.
We call Chisondes and Padmasambhava, Shantarakshita, during this time, 8th century.
Yes.
So they built the first monastery in Tibet.
Very
So
odd.
it was in the Samye monastery labyrinth there.
Wow.
But then later on, they have become more monasteries built in the later centuries.
Yes.
And then they make a copy. Right. Of course, not
the original,
not the easy as nowadays. No. Computer or copy, not the
photocopy,
not photocopy, but write it down.
Wow.
People write down.
Yes, all 8,000.
So 84,000 teachings, but the books is it's a text, it's textbook.
Yes.
108 something.
Oh,
that is the
108.
own Buddha's own spoken words.
Wow.
It's called Kanjur.
Yes.
Then Tenjur is another one. There's 200 something textbooks.
Wow.
That is the Buddha teaching and commented by the other scholars, Buddhist scholars.
Yes.
But the Kanjur, why is it important? Because that's only alone Buddha's words.
His actual words.
Yes.
And there's 84,000 texts.
84,000 subjects, right?
Subjects.
Yes.
So this leads to a very important point, because then we want to find a home or a resting place for all of these texts that have now been translated into Tibetan, where people can come to from around the world to be able to read it, to be mindful, to spend time there. And naturally, Bhutan seems like it would be one of the most ideal places in the world for this. Could you give us a little bit of context around Bhutan itself, and you being in Bhutan, and what this project can be to be able to bring all these translated texts into one place in Bhutan? And can you tell us a little bit?
So the text, Kanjur text, translated in Tibetan language, now it's actually, if we talk about just a book, it is quite available in everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you can buy in Nepal, you can buy in India, you can buy in China and then Tibet, or you can buy and translate it in text. Then now see the text translated into Tibetan words like a book, right?
Yes.
Like a book, so it's available.
Yes.
So now in the it is very important. The Bhutan is very important because Bhutan is the only country that really represent the Vajrayana Buddhism.
Okay.
So kingdom.
Right. Yes.
Vajrayana kingdom.
Okay, so it's Vajrayana.
Yes. The kingdom.
Bhutan.
Vajrayana kingdom.
Yes.
And for example, like the king of Bhutan, His Majesty.
Yes.
The kings of the Bhutans were actually prophesied by the Guru Padmasambhava.
Right.
8th century.
Wow.
So he had prophesied the kings, their names, their legacy has been already prophesied from thousands of years.
That's amazing.
So the kings are still living.
Yes.
And they continue their dynasty.
That's very exciting.
So the Bhutan becomes very important because of the Bhutan kings.
Yes.
Continuity of the holding the Buddha Dharma.
Yes.
Especially the Vajrayana Buddhism.
Yes.
And Vajrayana Buddhism is very important actually. The reason why same goes back because we have this 84,000 teaching, Kanjur, which I mentioned, the text, only in the Vajrayana Buddhism.
Yes.
This one can be read, understand or can be read in the Tibetan or Bhutanese, can be understood. It's their language, it's their script.
So it's so important.
Yes.
It's so important that you have it there. And this project that we'll be approaching will be something very important to house the text. As you said, it's available in books if we want to get it, but if we had to have a physical place, this being the kingdom would be very important for us to have it there. And you have spent a lot of time in Bhutan, Rinpoche, and what we'd like to do on our next episode is to find out a little bit more about how you came to Bhutan and what it's like being a Rinpoche in Bhutan. So at this point, I'd want to thank you very much for being on our show and for really giving us an introduction into the greater components of Buddhism and how important it is particularly in this part of the world, and what the future is going to look like. And we're going to be digging a little bit deeper into those topics in our next episodes. So once again, thank you very much for being on our episode, Rinpoche, and we're looking forward to having you on our next episodes where we'll be talking to the Rinpoche again. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you.